This is the Crucifixion. I use myself as Christ because in another piece, the Last Supper, I didn't really know who the people were in the layout of Da Vinci's Last Supper, but I ended up being Judas in the other piece. And to make amends for that, I just made myself Christ on this one. And put the fishing pole rod hanging on the fishing pole rod because Christ was a fisherman, we were told. And then you've got the sauterelle, the locust, is eating the remnants of a bone in the apocalypse, and the butterfly, the black butterflies, are going off in a distance, and of course the carnation. That I think that this is probably Maria Magdalena, and this is the Virgin Mary because this was her daughter. This was a friend of mine who had stolen my father's wristwatch, so I hung it on his hand and unveiled this in Arab, Alabama, and he saw it, and it was returned shortly after that. And this is Juliana Seraphim. We were in a museum in, where was it? Aleppo, Syria. And we went into the bottom of this museum, and there were two little gold earrings that I had seen laid out in this museum box. And we got in the car, and she said, "Look." And she had pinched those gold earrings. This is before it was really an official museum. They just found things. And so all of these, this is Michael Thomas, who was a professor of hypnotism at the University of Chicago, and then he came down to live in Arab as an inventor. This is Thomas Miller. He was a curator of the cloisters in New York Museum. Bill Nance, another artist from Alabama. This is the Algerian desert, the Ores Mountains, which is Middle Eastern, so we can, it was well situated. And just the triptych, and of course, the other two crosses, I could have hung any crosses, but this is kind of the into the computer, the insides of a computer or some machine cross. And this one, I love this one because it has the blocks, the things that I had bought in India. And of course, India to me is a very spiritual country. It's reported in India that Christ spent 15 years of his life at the Hindu University learning. And they have this huge garden, red calla lilies, several acres of bright red calla lilies, the Jesus Christ garden. So I love, and then you have the eye, but I found this marble that had an eye like that, kind of like the goat's eye or the lamb. And I thought, oh, wow, what a perfect icon to go in the middle of it. And then, of course, the cross is actually bleeding itself with the mosaics. And so that's this piece. And this is the architecture that is being built in deserts and I think at that time there were many different American architects going into the Middle East and into Saudi Arabia and extracting the oil, selling their services, and kind of like a lemon, you squeeze all the juice out of it and throw the rinds away. And I was not really pleased with that exploitation of oil from Algeria, especially since I was visiting there, like twice a year for 3 or 4 years consecutively, visiting a friend of mine. And just living and seeing the perspective of the people that lived there in Algeria, the Algerians, and hitchhiking and sleeping with the Berbers, go through and they let you out in a car or a bus or a motorcycle or whoever gives you a ride, and you're near a little village of tents. And you go, and they said, come, come, come. And you go, and they said, would you like some food? Would you like to sleep tonight? Yes, of course I would. And you spend a few days and then keep on going because you don't have a schedule. You're hitchhiking. You're an artist. You are doing what you do. You've got your watercolor bag. So I was in my office, and the office that day was the Berber village. So, special piece